Solving one-step equations with multiplication or division. Key questions: what is the one step to solve a multiplication problem? And what is the one step to solve a division problem? Now we should recall from the previous lesson the two things we need to do to solve an equation. So we don't really need to copy this down. It's the same steps as the last time for addition and subtraction. We're going to, again, get the variable by itself by rescuing the variable. And we're going to use the inverse operation, which again is eliminating the enemy. This day, the inverse to multiplication, you should know, is division. And the inverse to division is multiplication. Go ahead and pause the video and copy down the following equations. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did last time, which is to rescue the variable. This time the enemy is the one that's being multiplied or divided by the variable here. So to eliminate the negative 3, which is being multiplied to x, we're going to use division, because division is the inverse operation. Now instead of multiplying by negative 3, I'm going to divide by negative 3. Whatever I do to one side, I'll do the other side. Now notice I didn't use the opposite number, I used the inverse operation. So the inverse to multiplication was division. I still used negative 3 and not positive 3. So now the enemy is eliminated because negative 3 over negative 3 equals 1. So I have 1x. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. I could check my answer again by plugging this in for x. So negative 3 times negative 4 is equal to positive 12. So my answer checks out. Here I have the variable I want to rescue. This time the operation is division, so we're dividing by negative 3. So the inverse to division is multiplication. So instead of dividing by negative 3, I'm going to multiply by negative 3. Now negative 3 over negative 3, because really this is the 1 right here, this would cross reduce to be 1 and 1, so I'm left with x. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36. There's my answer. I could check it, plug it right back in there for x, so negative 36 divided by negative 3 is positive 12. So my answer again checks out. Go ahead and pause the video and try each of the following problems on your own. Here this is a multiplication problem. So I want to save the x. Instead of multiplying by 2, I'm going to divide by 2. 2 over 2 equals 1. Negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. The next problem is division, so instead of dividing by 4, I'm going to multiply by 4. And again, I could cross reduce, left with x. Negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. I'm all done. So again, keep in mind it's the inverse operation, not the opposite number. Go ahead and pause the video again and try each of the following. Here I have multiplication, so instead of dividing or multiplying by 0.2, I'm going to divide by 0.2. This would equal 1, so I have left 1x. Now we can do this on the side here. 4 divided by 0.2. I'll move the decimal once, so I'll have to move this decimal once. So I'm left with 40. And now 2 goes into 4 twice, and 2 goes into 0 0 times. So my answer is 20. For my next problem, this is still multiplication, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2.5, or 2/5, sorry. This looks a little weird. But keep in mind, when we're dividing by fractions, so if I had 2/5 divide by 2/5, this is really multiplying by the reciprocal, because I keep it, I flip it, and I multiply. So I'm really multiplying by 5 over 2. So instead of writing it like this, I'm going to write it the following way, which is to multiply by 5 over 2. So now 5 and 5 cross-reduce to be 1s, 2 and 2 cross-reduce to be 1, so I'm left with 1x. I'll put this over 1, I could cross-reduce the 2 and the 8 to be 4 and 1, so negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. I'm all done. So a little bit trickier here. So dividing by 2/5 is really the same as multiplying by 5 over 2. So what is the one step to solving a multiplication problem? I'll use division. And I divide by the number that's being multiplied. So divide by negative 6. What's the one step to solving a division problem? I would use multiplication. And I'll multiply by that same number. So instead of dividing by 6, I'm going to multiply by 6.